Hello, welcome back to Say Something Serious. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we are here with Nicole Randazzo. She is a registered dietitian nutritionist. Is that right?
Yeah.
Dietitian nutritionist and a certified diabetes care and education specialist. A few episodes ago, me and Mindy talked a lot of shit about weight loss and GLP-1s and all of our various feelings that we've been having about all of that. And we decided that it would be really good if we got somebody who knew what they were talking about to talk to us a little bit about that. So thank you for joining us, Nicole.
Of course. Thanks for having me, you guys.
You're here. So, first of all, is everybody on GLP-1s? Because that's what it feels like.
A good chunk of people are, definitely. I think there was a percentage, I want to say like 12% of the US population currently are on them. So, yeah, it's real. And
That
those are the people that are reporting it, right? So, yeah.
that's wild. Okay. What percentage of the population has diabetes? Do we know that? I know that's like a stat off the top of your head, but
That's a really good question. It depends because it's type 1 versus type 2. I can get back to you on that one, but
does GLP-1 work for both type 1 and type 2?
no, great question. So when you have type 1 diabetes, that's technically an autoimmune disease because their pancreas does not function at all. That's the organ that releases the insulin, which is the hormone that reduces the blood sugar spike. And then when you have type 2 diabetes, your pancreas typically is working, but malfunctioning. And it depends like how progressed it is for how long. But they need assistance. So you take a GLP-1 because that's actually a hormone that we all already have in our gut. And so they're getting assistance from it. So, yeah, different, but it is type 2 diabetes. And that's actually where GLP-1 medications came from and originated from back in like 2005. So they've been around. This is not new, but it's new in the sense of the weight loss space since 2015. So, yeah.
Okay. So people were using it to manage their diabetes
And they still are.
since
Yeah.
2005. Yeah. And now people, I think, would say that a lot of people are trying to use it to prevent themselves from getting diabetes.
Hmm.
Like if they're already in the obesity category and they're having trouble getting their weight under control and their sugar down and their cravings and all of that, I would say that I find myself in that camp. Is that like I have been like, I'm not getting on GLP-1s. These people are too skinny. And I'm thinking that's gonna age really poorly if I have to tell everybody I have diabetes in 7 years. You know what I mean? That's gonna seem like a dumb stance to take.
So, I mean, I always preface this as being a tool, right? Like, this is one way that is very effective, but it comes with side effects, as do all medications, right? But there are ways to achieve the reduction of developing diabetes through other ways. And if you don't feel comfortable, then there are other ways. You won't have the assistance from the tool, but of course, it's possible. And that's actually something that in this space as a dietitian and diabetes educator and counselor, it's I people are on it, but they think just because they got the prescription that they're good to go, and then they have all these side effects, and then they're more likely to stop prematurely. So that's where counseling and accountability comes in because a lot of my patients that are getting this prescription are not getting education from the doctor. They're just writing the scripts. They're like, all right, it's an injection once a week. It's like, where's the injection? And what are the side effects? What am I kind of signing off to on this? And then they come to me with hair loss and they have no appetite. They're chronically nauseous and all these things. And so that's not good either. So it's finding that middle ground between the pendulum. And so, yeah, that's kind of like what we're doing now. I'd hope to get people before, but that's not always the case, unfortunately. People see me when they're having an issue. So,
It's so interesting though. I mean, I feel like what you're saying is so relevant to the work that I do as well, right? Like plenty of people can go and take any kind of medication and it will help your symptoms, but if you're not getting the counseling from someone like you to kind of walk you through the process of how to really amplify the benefits and stay away from the side effects, I see people always like stopping short, right? They discontinue their meds, then they have really horrible rebound side effects after that. So, having someone who's educated to walk you through it and kind of hold your hand and also keep you nourished, right? Like if you're not having an appetite, you really need to make sure you're eating the right things when you are.
yeah, I would actually argue that it's even more important because you have such a reduced appetite. Every bite, it has to be that much more intentional. So it's definitely not the easy way out, which I think is like a misconception. And so kind of like rewiring or reworking like the thought process, because a lot of times like there are people who yes do overeat, but then there's also a genetic component as well. But it's like people who are so focused on what they need to eat all the time. And I'm like, that's not healthy either. Like, we need to be having a balance. And so, a lot of my work too, like, I try to be subtle about it, but it's like also nourishing your relationship with food, whether it's you are going to the foods that are not necessarily that healthy or the ones that are super focused on protein, super focused on low saturated fat. Like that's not good either. And it's not sustainable. So I kind of look at myself as like a food therapist in a lot of ways. It's very similar to the work you do, Mindy.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that I love. Like the numbers are one thing, like the scale, yes, that's a big motivator for so many people, but it's also blood work and then how you feel in your skin, like more energy, not having these blood sugar crashes, not having like there's all these non-scale victories that I try to emphasize. And sometimes it gets there, you need a little time for them to have that buy-in on that end, but I those are like the biggest wins for me is getting people to see that too. So,
Yeah, I mean, whether we like it or not, there's a really big emotional connection to how we interact with our food.
mhm.
All of us, everyone, it's a big part of our culture. It's a big part of how a lot of people cope, and how they give themselves comfort. And there's nothing wrong with like bonding and getting comfort through food. But when it becomes kind of like a chronic behavior that you are losing a sense of control of, you are like a therapist. And there was something I wanted to ask you about because I looked at your Instagram page, and I saw this post that you put up about like the mindset, like getting really motivated and really excited, but like that is a spark that only lasts so long. And the work is in the days when you lose that spark. Like, how do you keep pushing towards your goals?
Yeah, definitely. So it's the consistency factor, right? Like we all get so excited when we have this idea and we're like, all right, I'm gonna meal prep. I'm going to, lose X amount of weight. And it's like, yeah, we all get motivated the first week or so and we're posting on social media, we're talking about it. But then like when no one else is looking and things get a little more hard and you're stressed, we fall back to our old ways. So the consistency that I find myself talking about the framework with my clients is that there's a 3-step process I like to make it easy. Step one is like really rooting yourself in a deeper reason other than the external factors. What is going to impress you? Yes, we all want to look good for that upcoming event, but are you like, do you want to feel less stressed during the week and you want to know, how to meal prep or how to get some more time back for your kids and for your family, so while getting to your health goals. So step one is really just like envisioning that feeling, and looking to achieve it. Step two, I would say, is like look back to proof in the past that you have done it before, even if it wasn't like the official meal plan or anything like that, but you've had times where you felt like you had it under control. Like try to mimic that as well. And that's the last step, is one small thing that you can do that's going to get you there. So these are the conversations I have all the time because we have all these goals, these lofty goals, and it doesn't have to be nutrition, just in life, but how are you going to stay consistent? And I find that when I impress myself and I have a deeper feeling to it, that's going to make me feel good, I'm more likely to stay consistent, even on the days that it may be hard. And then you build confidence. The more times you do it, you're like, I could do hard things, you know? So, and then I even see clients once they start to get the hang of things, I love hearing how it just like filtrates into other parts of their life too, which I'm sure you see too, Mindy.
Absolutely. I think it's so tied to worth, like a sense of worthiness. Like, I deserve better, right? Like, a lot of people, especially parents, right, who are like working, they have kids, they're running around, they don't have time. They'll like grab something fast and easy because they don't, either like find the time. Because I do believe we can all find the time when we need to, right? Like,
Mhm.
if we have that, I guess, like determination, right, to really follow through. That sense of like, I do care and I do deserve this, to take care of myself and to treat myself better. And I deserve to feel good. I mean, I think there's a lot. I think it's so closely tied together. But you don't always see someone in the nutrition field who is working with the mindset piece. So I think it's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like if you don't acknowledge like people as a full entity, then it's things are going to break down. We can focus on one action, which is nutrition and food choice, but a lot of it is not in the day and age of chat GBT, it's not a lack of education. It's how am I going to implement this in my lifestyle? And that's where, a dietitian will come in is like, we are going to fit with what's going to get you the outcomes that you want for your lifestyle and sustainability. I also say to my clients, I'm like, I hope you don't have to see me all the time. A good dietitian or a good therapist, like you shouldn't be seeing them all the time, because we should be giving you tools. And you can check back in here and there, but that's kind of the perspective that I take. I just want to empower people to feel good about food. A lot of women specifically like feel very stressed out about food for many reasons, for upbringing, for just societally, expectations, all that stuff. So I try to kind of take that out and empower them through our work. So yeah.
I think that a lot of people, including myself, in the past, have thought of a nutritionist as like a rich person
Okay.
resource.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think there have been steps made that have made it much more accessible for regular people. Am I wrong about that? Like, I keep getting Instagram ads that are like, your insurance might pay for you to see a nutritionist. Like, I always thought, like, like you get 10 mental health visits and that's it, and a year with your insurance, and like everything else. I mean, even when I saw a nutritionist, I paid her like hundreds of dollars an hour to do that like 15 years ago. So is that is that true? Is that has that changed?
I it definitely has. I mean, there's always been insurance-based dietitians. I'm included in that. But I will say it's a lot of extra work for the provider because claims can get denied. So I can't really speak to like before my time. I've been a dietitian for 7 years, but it's always been around. I think it's more accessible now for the provider because there's these platforms that do the coding for you and they help with the scheduling. So it lightens the burden for the provider so that they can focus on their one-on-one or group sessions. So it makes it more accessible. So it is more seen now. But yeah, it's always been around, but there are still private pay as well. And honestly, like no shade to those dietitians because it is a headache. And I do think the reimbursement rates are not always that great to us for what we're providing people. And it's not always covered for everyone. So it all depends. Like some insurance is don't cover the same. It depends if you fit a criteria for a diagnostic code. So yeah, sometimes you don't always have access, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people do tend to get at least three preventative nutrition counseling for most major insurances. So that's a good thing. Yeah. Sometimes unlimited, it really depends, but at least three I've seen for most, which is nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What would those three look like? Like, if you have someone coming to you and they're like, I have 3 sessions to work with you, do you have kind of something you're like, okay, this is what I can get across to someone in 3 sessions that's the most helpful? Or do you individualize it?
It really depends on what the main issue is. You know, I do focus in a space of like diabetes or blood sugar control and weight loss. So I tend to see clients in that space, but I also have clients that get referred to me from their doctor for managing their, blood pressure or, helping with their cholesterol. I could definitely help with all of that. So it really does
I
depend. I
mean,
do take an individual approach. Yeah,
I mean,
there you go. Yeah, so you have access most likely. But yeah, and also even I want to say this too, going back to access to a dietitian, even if we're not in network with your insurance, we can do a super bill, where you will have to pay the amount when you first see the dietitian, but they will give you an invoice that you can then give to your insurer, and they can give you a reimbursement for whatever they decide. So that is possible as well. Yeah.
Do you have a certain one of the things Mindy and I talked about was that like 100 nutritionists graduate from college at one school and they all have a different idea of the right way to eat when they're done.
Hmm.
Do you have a personal philosophy or something that guides the way that you see what nutritional eating is?
Yeah, like I don't believe in one specific diet. I think most dietitians this day and age are really getting away from like you need to eat low carb, you need to eat that, like some things that we've heard before in the past. I think all foods have a place in our diet. It's just, I would say, trying to really focus on a plate method, we call it, or the my plate method, where half of your plate is dedicated to non starchy vegetables most of the time. A quarter of the plate is to high fiber whole grains, and a quarter of the plate of lean protein. I talk about that always in the intro, no matter what. So that is a staple. And then it depends exactly like what we're going to focus on. But yeah, that's like really just generic nutrition foundations, I would say. But I believe all foods have space in our diet. I personally live by 80-20 rule. 80% of the time I'm eating to fuel myself and give myself enough energy to live the life I want. And 20% is the novelty and enjoying like dessert or enjoying like my friends are over, the wine. And I find that if you allow for that 20% in your life, you won't white knuckle it and then go off the rails one day. You'll have more sustainability with that and you won't feel like you're miserable. Because what's the point of any of this if you're not happy? You might be at the scale weight that you want, or you might be at the size you want, but then it's like you're not even enjoying yourself. So I find that 80-20% rule is typically a good mindset for people as well.
that, I mean, I think if you're depriving yourself and you fall off, it's so much harder to get back on track if you have that kind of all or nothing mentality, which I suffer from. um,
A lot of
but
us do.
if you're in agreement with yourself, like I'm gonna indulge maybe once or twice a week in something that I really love that feels good, and then just get back to my everyday, that's definitely a much better approach.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't seem as daunting, right? Like you don't feel like you can't go to that social event. I have some clients that really are restrictive, and then we have to rebuild their confidence around food. Like you can go out, like just because like some people feel like they cannot drink because once they drink they go off the rails, and or their next 2 days are done for. So it's really going back to there's room for everything. It's just maybe we can negotiate how that comes up, but yeah, that's usually more long-term thinking.
That is one thing that I think is really hard about food addiction is that like you can't go cold turkey on food. Like it's not an option to just not eat the way you can not smoke cigarettes or not drink or whatever. So like you always have to find a way to like nourish yourself. And if you're addicted to food, which I believe is a real thing, um that
Certain foods, I would say.
yeah,
Yeah.
like sugar. And do you ever read Bright Lines?
No. What is that?
This woman, I'm gonna get it wrong, but she was like a drug addict,
Mhm.
and then, an alcoholic, all these other things, and then she um stopped and found herself like food addicted much later. And she came up with this theory that like anything that you grind into a white powder is a
Is
drug.
addictive.
So like
Oh, it's a drug.
flour is a drug, sugar is a drug. And I read her
Mhm.
book one time. Didn't help. Still chubby. But she said like her idea was like she read I want to say like a rock star, a
Mhm.
biography of a rock star like that
Mhm.
also had a drug problem, who said that like I'm the type of person that needs really bright lines. And so her thought that all or nothing thing came from her recovery, her addiction recovery. And she was like, in food recovery, you have to have really bright lines. And my bright line is that I don't eat foods that are crushed up into white powders. Which, if you could do
That
it, would
works.
probably really
Yeah.
help, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you cut enriched white flour and sugar, if you cut that out of your diet, you're going to have better outcomes. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure. Like those are big ones. They're definitely have an addictive quality. I'll say like simple carbohydrates, which is flour, or sugar. Carbs break down into sugar, so it's pretty versatile. Um, you know, those do have they give us this dopamine high. Like we instantly like the way we feel most of the time. Whether it's potato chips or cake, it's essentially the same the way it's impacting you. It's going to light up that part of your brain. And so that's why we keep wanting more. I mean, it's in us. If you give a baby sugar, they love it, like from when as young as we are. That's biological. Um, but it's finding like a balance, like how you can like temper that and everything, and knowing what foods to pair that with so that you can have like a slow increase instead of this rapid up spike, because whatever goes up quick also drops, and then you're going to want more, and then you're riding this roller coaster on and on and on, and comes with all these other things bad, like or you have a hard time focusing and things like that, and crashes. So all these things are tied into blood sugars. And I do focus on that. And it's not just for people who have diabetes, it's people who have PCOS, insulin resistance, even ADHD. Blood sugar control has shown that that can help a lot with attention span. So we all can benefit a little bit from the stability of our diet and
Yeah.
everything. But yeah.
I have a question about like you're talking about what you can pair your food with. And
Mhm.
I've been hearing a lot about that. Like if you eat things in a certain order, like start with a protein or start with a veg before you go to the carb, you won't have as big of a spike. Is that true?
Yeah, totally.
Mm,
And that's
yeah.
because protein is the food group that takes the longest to break down in our stomach. So if we start with that, that can help, even if you're having carbs, but it's in a different order. Um, Also, vegetables, non-starchy vegetables. So really anything except for potatoes, peas, and corn. Those are more starchy. But
That's why
all
those
the
are my
other
favorite.
veggies, I love them too.
I love a
But
sweet pea.
but having that first because of the dietary fiber actually is carbohydrates. It's just the carbs that don't fully digest in our system, so it is going to also damper that or slow down that blood sugar spike, and it's not going to go as high. So yeah, that balanced plate like I talked about, like that's the goal. But if you can get one of those in, or the order of it, that can really help too, to the effect. Yeah.
I have another question that is like just plaguing me for the last many years, right? Like I am now over 40 and any like content that I'm consuming is like you must have a like, a high amount of protein every day and you must have food before your coffee. Can you talk to me and convince me, please? I need to eat before I drink my coffee because I'm hearing it constantly and I can't do it. Like no
Yeah.
matter like I need coffee in the morning and then I will think about the rest of my life 30 minutes later.
Yeah, because you're not aware. Yeah.
I can't commit.
Um, is that the first thing you're having for the day? Like no water at all, or yeah.
Well, I take thyroid medication and then drink my water.
And then wash it down with coffee.
Just a
Suffer,
little bit of water to get that
suffer the
killed down.
20-minute wait, and then I'm like ready for my coffee.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Um,
basically the first thing, but like half a bottle of water probably.
you're by the way, you're not alone just because of your age group. Like everyone, protein is in everything. It's a bit obnoxious at this point. Like we've gone a little too far that it's in
It's
everything.
cottage
Like
cheese on everything.
let's just enjoy things the way they come. It doesn't have to. But yeah, so we want to make sure that we have something, ideally that has a little bit of protein before we eat, because if you are starting your day with coffee, you are at first off, your blood sugar is actually going to temporarily spike up, and then it's going to go back down. But what you're doing with the coffee is it's actually an appetite suppressant. That's not a good thing because you're suppressing your appetite. So that's why you're not really feeling hungry. Also, too, when you're not used to eating regularly, I say if you're not hungry in the first 2 hours of wake, that usually means that your metabolism is slowed down. So you want to actually be hungry in the first 2 hours because think about it. The last time you ate is maybe dinner, maybe the dessert you had before bed, and then you slept hopefully for a good amount, 7 to 8 hours. And then you're still not hungry. Like that, you should be hungry. So that's showing that
Shit. Well, what do we do?
yeah, yeah. So you
I'm
want
not
to make
hungry till noon.
yeah,
Same,
so that's
same.
not
And then my blood sugar is plummeting at 1 and
and
I'm
then you're
very angry.
ravishing yeah, and then
Yeah.
you want like high carb foods. Yeah, so what you want to do is just make sure that you have something. You can start with like maybe a smoothie, or like Chobani makes like a great drinkable like smoothie that has 20 grams of protein right there, some carbs. That will get you in a good spot. And then what you're doing is you're starting the engine, which is your metabolism. You're starting to get your body to work on something. You're putting fuel in. And you're going to notice that you're not going to be as hungry when typical lunches. You might be able to go maybe a little later, but about 4 hours after that for most people is the time to eat. And then that's when you have like a balanced meal ideally as well. But what's happening is that your blood sugars are spiking temporarily from that coffee, then it's dropping, but you don't really notice it because it's an appetite suppressant. And then by the time you're coming out of that suppressant, you're like super, super like hangry a lot of times, or you're feeling really tired and everything. And that will dictate your food choices. So, just for long term better food choices, is to like ward off that hanger zone. I try to do that as much as possible. My friends know, like, I need to always have a meal, like meal idea. Like, when's the snack? When's the meal? If I'm going out of the house for more than 2 hours, I'm bringing a snack with me because no one wants to deal with me when I'm hungry because I my crash is pretty bad. And now I'm used to it, so I'm even more sensitive than if you haven't been following that for a while.
Will doing that make my metabolism faster? Or is that a whole nother healing journey that I have to go on?
It will definitely support your metabolism better, and it will also support better choices throughout the day. You might think because you're not eating in the beginning of the day that you're saving calories. That's not how it works. It's not like a bank account where you get to save things. You are going to make worse choices. Like the data shows that you're making worse choices that are higher in calories, higher in saturated fats and simple carbs. And then those foods don't nourish us that well. And then you keep going back and it's a cycle. But if you start your day with more balance and you're more consistent, overall, you're going to eat, I believe, on average, about 200 calories less. And that's just
If you
like
eat breakfast.
test. Yeah. It's an investment. Look at it as an investment for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Just so gross to me in the morning. But maybe if I didn't have coffee, I'd be looking for something.
I will say in the beginning, it's really tough. I used to never eat either in middle school, all throughout high school. And then when I started like learning in college, I was like, I need to force myself. And it wasn't fun. And then you actually start to crave it. I actually had that conversation with a client today who I've been working on this concept with. This is normally a very first thing too for a lot of women and people in general. I'm like, we got to eat breakfast first. Let's start there. And she said today, I was like, I actually am hungry. Like the first hour, like I can't forget now. I'm like, this is good. This is progress. So, yeah, it's
Okay,
fun.
I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna commit, Erin. No coffee until you eat something this week.
Oh, wait, are you committing or are you committing
I'm
me?
committing both.
It feels
Guys are
like
buddy
I got
system.
dragged
We're
into
in this
that.
together. We're in this together. And
Yeah.
we're doing
No,
both
we should
at once.
check in. I keep thinking like, do I make it? I have those Chobani drinks and they did work.
There you go.
Little
Okay.
concerned about Chobani possibly being fascist,
Well,
but
right now, okay, then go to Oik. I agree. I haven't gotten them in a while. Oikos makes 23 grams. So you could do that. It's a drinkable as well.
yes. And so it's like choking it down, right? I'm thinking like, should I try that? Because I've tried that many times and I'm still like, eh.
Okay.
Or should I try to decide that I'm going to make breakfast delicious?
Yeah, get excited about it. Like make
Like
it like
make
something
eggs and omelets, like treat myself every morning because maybe that will make it more enticing if I'm like, ooh,
that might I would start like slow
do
and
both.
be gradual because you'll make it, but then you're going to be like for most people, but you might not. Maybe you'll get so excited, smell the food, the onions, maybe like on the stove and everything. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit, I promise you. But once you do, you're then going to be looking for food.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to do it. I'm going to make sure.
Yeah, we gotta do it. Today I was like, I waited and waited and waited, and then I was like desperate. Like this happens to me every day. And then I eat something and then I'm exhausted. Like I need a nap at 1 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't eat all morning and I've been up since 6. And it's terrible. It's a terrible way to live.
Yeah, you're not alone though. Like I said, like this is such a common thing. I think maybe because we're just women and we think less calories the better, or just don't eat until you're hungry. That's what that is part of intuitive eating. That is good, but I do think like the years of not eating is not the best example in the morning, but I think as parents too, I see it all the time with my clients. They're like, let me get my kids ready for school. Let me do this. And by the time they're like, oh, all right. So, just coming up with like a drinkable, smoothie, that would be great. You have it ready to go. You grab it. Overnight oats is another thing as well. You can make it, you can batch them the night before. It takes 5 minutes, then you have it ready to go. So it's all about making it easy.
Is an example of the phrase that you introduced us to called real life practicality? What
Yeah.
does that mean?
Yeah, it's just like real life practicality I talk about. And in my practice, it's just helping you use food as a powerful resource. It's not something to fear or overthink or restrict. Like I really try to emulate to my clients and empower them that food is, I focus on the food that you actually enjoy and then how we can strategize and make it fit um, into your schedule and habits and make you feel good, and get to your health goals. Again, that 80-20 rule allows for that as well, practicality. So, yeah. And then finding ways how we can make what you like a little healthier, being open minded too. Sometimes we surprise ourselves what we actually are open to, but we got to make it taste good. And that's where I come in.
Love pasta,
Mm-hmm. Me too.
but I found that especially if I put my homemade sauce on it, that I really can't tell the difference between regular pasta and whole wheat pasta.
Nice.
And I always feel way better if I eat the whole wheat pasta. Like I don't get the bloated stomach and feel like shit the next day.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I have both in my cabinet, and 50% of the time I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
regular pasta. And it's like, even though I know I'm not going to be able to tell, something says, you want that dopamine, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. You can also
Where
have
do you,
regular pasta. I just want to say that. Like, but maybe you got to put a
I,
protein in there. Like, maybe we got to make some meatballs. Maybe we do like a ground turkey, like meat sauce. Maybe we put some spinach in there. Or maybe in our sauce, we'll do Greek yogurt instead of heavy cream. Try it. Try it.
I'm
These
sure.
things. I know it sounds weird to put yogurt
Do
in your.
you give out all these hot tips on your Instagram?
I do. I do. Yeah.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's Betterful, Bettrfull, and also TikTok too. So I give
Oh,
all these tips. Yeah.
she's on the tick and the talk. What is, if you could amplify one message in the nutrition space right now,
hmm
what would it be? What do you wish people were actually absorbing besides, even if you're skinny, you need GLP-1s?
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking again about these GLP-1s. We cannot slip back into skinnier is better. Like, please, for the love, like, I don't want to go back to the early 2000s. I feel like there has been a subtle cultural shift equating weight loss with worth again. And that's really harmful. You see, like, in Hollywood right now, I feel like everyone looks like very
Skeletons.
concerned. Yeah,
Yeah,
concerning.
it's
And
terrifying.
I don't want to talk about anyone's body because you never know what someone's going through, right? But it's becoming a real trend coincidentally since GLP-1s came on the market. And I just don't think it is a coincidence. These medications can absolutely be helpful for many. And I am in this field and working with clients that are using it, but they aren't necessary for everyone. And with upcoming insurance changes, and accessibility being impacted very, very soon as of January 1st, 2026. These will soon be limited to the people that actually need them the most. So we need to figure out like how we can have sustainable non-GLP-1 changes that we're going to make. My priority is reminding people that health isn't defined by a number on the scale, and whether someone is on this medication or not, sustainable progress comes from nourishment, consistency, and feeling at home in your body, not chasing a number at all costs. So yeah, that's what I really want to amplify right now. It's I feel like I'm on the side of I know that this medication works so well, but I also feel like and I do see the abuse of it from people. And that's the biggest concern that I have right now. So yeah,
I agree. I
yeah.
feel like anorexia and the look of it is like making a comeback, which is just horrifying. Like it's horrifying. These like when, if I can see all your bones, it's not good. And I don't. I think there it's a conspiracy. honestly, honestly, like it's not. Women were getting skinny enough. Like being fit was it was enough. It's not like we were like eh, living in a world where most of the famous people were not fit and skinny already. You know what I mean? And we had to like make a big shift. Like everybody was already thin. And it's just, I don't know. Do you know what I think about? Every summer. Do you guys watch Love Island?
Never.
Not really, but I see some
It's a
seasons.
fabulous show about heterosexual culture
mm,
where heterosexuals compete to fall in love with one another. And they're all like under 20 and super, super hot. But every year they do something called the Heartbeat Challenge, where they put watches on everyone and monitor their heart rate while they get lap dances from everybody else in the house because science, you know? And every year it is the girl who looks the most normal. They're all thin, they're all supermodels. But the girl with an hourglass, with real hips, with a real ass, with real tits, and not super, super skinny arms, she wins the heart rate challenge. Is she winning any of the other stuff we do on the app? No, not always. But she always wins the heart rate challenge, which tells me something about men as somebody who studies heterosexual people, which is that they say in public and on camera that what they're looking for is the tiniest person there. But the person they want to fuck the most is the girl that looks human
yeah.
and
Well,
doesn't look like a Bratz doll.
yeah. I do think that, yeah, it is biological, right? Like there is science behind it. Like the wider your hips are, the more voluptuous your chest is, like that shows fertility, right? So like it is biological, and they are like wired to be attracted to it, which means like they're going to want to produce with you, right? Back in the day. So yeah, I do think you're right. And then the rest is preference, right? Societally being conditioned. Honestly, I would say from my perspective, I don't even know if it's the men's perspective. I think the women want to just be smaller for them, for the women's gaze. I don't know. I don't really, I mean, men, I
Yeah,
guess,
well, it
aren't
can't be
allowed to
for
talk
men,
about it,
right?
right? So,
Yeah, well, we're not men, but
I agree with that.
yeah, well, there's always that really the other famous study that I'm obsessed with where they studied the difference between OkCupid swipes and porn history and tried to figure out why men swipe much more often on thinner women, and that 50% of the men who swipe only on skinny women, which is like 80% of men at the time, this was like an old study, like 2010, 50% of those men only watched porn with not skinny women in it. So it was like there's some
Societal
organization.
pressure.
disconnect about what society expects of men and what society expects men to want
Mhm.
versus what they really do want, that I think then trickles down to women because they know that like men are looking for an accessory, which
Mm.
goes back to my conspiracy that in this right wing trad wife white national Christian thing happening, that we are trying to like heavily control women, and in that environment women being frail is important,
Hmm.
that they're looking for frail women.
Yeah.
Like why else would they want, like why would they be trying to make the ideal emancipated,
Emaciated, yeah.
emaciated.
I don't know if Nicole knew what she was signing up for now.
It does.
I'm very used to it, but as a new guest on this podcast,
No, that's okay.
This will be the
I'm just
most
also
popular part
taking it
of the
in.
podcast.
we go there.
I have not heard this before, like thought about it. Honestly, like I'm not thinking about what they want. Like I'm thinking about, like I said, like I dress for women. I don't dress for men. Like same thing with like my body too. I feel like I don't know, that's kind of like how I think, and I feel like when you think a certain way, you think others do as well. So all of this is just a new perspective to me that I haven't considered.
When women come to you and say, I want to lose 50 pounds,
Mhm.
and like you were saying in your very amazing TikTok video, they come at first with maybe a more superficial why, and you help them find the real why. What are those superficial whys? Are they like, I want to be thinner than my sister? Like what
Literally, yes, actually. I wouldn't have I actually that reminded me of someone from like a year and a half ago. My sister's so much smaller. Ugh, she doesn't even try, and I run 5 miles a day and I count my calories, and she's always skinnier than me. Yeah, it's the comparison of other women a lot of times. Yeah, it's also looking good for that event. Who are you trying to look good for? Is it for the men and women? I don't know. But yeah, all those things, trying to look good for Instagram. All of that stuff again is just external validation. Um, so yeah, it happens. It's in us, unfortunately.
We're gonna have to dig into this. Anybody from Love Island?
There you go. There you go.
Like to be on our next episode.
There we go.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
so
That's an
funny.
experiment, that show, for sure.
It's so fun. I wish
Right
I
now,
wish
I'm
I
gonna have
didn't
to go
love it,
watch.
but I really do. I'm
It's so
far enough
fascinating.
away from being a heterosexual 21-year-old supermodel that it just feels like such a fun fantasy too. You know,
Yeah.
like the villa. It's so fun. But nope, we said we wouldn't name names. Never
Okay.
mind. The people that are on that show every season went from
Mhm.
being 110 pounds last year to being 76 pounds this year. And it was shocking. Like it was shocking when I saw them. Like I was just like, shh, They were already a super thin and super, like, more gorgeous than any of the contestants. And then they walked out this season, and I was like, and I feel that way about people I see a lot now. And that hasn't happened in my adult life, where I see people and I'm shocked by their
Appearance.
thinness.
Yeah.
It's been happening more like in real life. And it's not even shock. I feel like sadness. I'm like, what is going on that you feel
That's how
like
I
this
feel.
this is what you need to put out in the world? Like you were beautiful, you can be healthy and have your regular body. I feel sadness when I see this. And again, no judgment because I know that there are people who really, really need this for their health and for their wellness. And I am 100% behind people making the choices that are best for them. But it's like the situations like you're talking about where someone is already healthy and well, and then they become emaciated and looking unwell. And it's like, well, what's happening internally for you that's driving you to make this choice? You know?
It's like, yeah, dysmorphic, right? Like, I don't feel that way. I am also seeing, people go from 240 to 160, and I'm so happy for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they're healthier, they're running now, they've got a handle on, so many things because they did the work and they lost the weight. Like that, I don't feel that way about that. I feel that way when I see these, like, people that have gone under 100 pounds, and I'm like, do you need food? Do you need help?
I will say too, because I have experienced this personally, like the times that I've been at my lowest haven't always been intentional either, like lowest on the scale. It's been because I have no appetite because of other things going on. Or you never know if someone's going through like a chronic, condition. So you just never know what's going on. So I look at it similar like to Mindy, like it is sad to me because I feel like for that big of a jump, I feel like whether they are taking these medications and have gone too far or they're dealing with something else, privately, it just my heart goes out to them. And I definitely just don't want to glorify it either. So yeah, it's just
Scary times.
it is scary. Yeah, for sure. So
So hold on tight. We're all beautiful women,
we are. We
We're
need
all
more.
we're all gonna start eating breakfast.
and we're
Yeah,
all going to start eating breakfast, not
yeah,
for of anybody's gaze, but for our blood sugar and our metabolism.
yeah, for you to feel better. Yeah.
Excellent. Is there anything
Thank
else you want to
you.
share before we wrap up?
Just that I am taking new clients with my virtual private practice. Again, I do focus on the space, the GLP-1 space, but also natural weight loss and blood sugar management. And you can find me at Instagram or TikTok at betterful.com, Pinterest as well, same thing. And then my website, betterful.com. Yeah.
I just have one more question because you threw out PCOS and that does, correlate with insulin resistance. Do you work with women with PCOS?
I do as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel
I
like that comes I see that a lot. I feel like it's pretty
There's
common.
still like a lot of research that needs to be done in that space because it's hard to officially diagnose. But yes, we are seeing more and more of that for sure. And diet has a lot to do with the symptoms of PCOS. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I have
great.
heard that. And I want to note, because we are international here at Say Something Serious, that you are licensed in New York and Massachusetts,
Hmm.
right?
And
Is that
Florida and yeah, there's a few other states, but Massachusetts and New York are my main ones, and I take insurance in those states as well. Yeah,
Amazing.
thank you for
yeah,
coming.
yeah. Thank
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having me,
much.
guys. So good to see you.